Hey guys, long time no see. I ran into some issues recording, aka I lost all of my footage because my hard drive apparently doubles as a digital Bermuda Triangle. Send data in, never hear from it again. What a lovely time to be alive. In pure frustration, I swore off modern gaming and bought the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. Now I know what you're thinking. Tyler, this game is over 20 years old. Who is gonna watch that? And all I have to say is, nostalgia hits harder than a limit break, and I'm not apologizing. Welcome to Can I Beat Final Fantasy 1? We begin our adventure thoroughly researching party comps. I was debating on doing a more meme-style party, but settled on the relatively meta, partially broken powerhouse of 3 warriors and a red mage. I have a thing for men wielding large swords evidently, but the real reason is that I have never played this game in its full length, and I wanted to give myself the best chance possible. We name our heroes Phil, Rumper, Egbert, and him, because, well, he's him. The world lies shrouded in darkness. The winds die. The seas rage. The earth decays. But the people believe in a prophecy. When the darkness veils the ward forward, in the lane of each was clutched a crystal. Yeah. We're put into the city of Cornelia, where the first real indicator of this game's age comes. There are absolutely no objective markers. I know some Elden Ring enjoyers are watching this, scoffing at me for complaining. This is something I'm glad they didn't maintain throughout the series' lifespan, otherwise I would have put my head through the wall several times as a child. Moving on, we get some new equipment and go speak to the king. After checking out our sweet crystals, instead of ID, he informs us that one of his best warriors betrayed him and abducted the princess. He's hiding in the Temple of Chaos, so we have our very first objective. As soon as I take one step out of the kingdom, we're launched into our first fight, and it goes well. We use the tried and true method of beating them with a metal stick and take them out no problem. We make it to the temple, and after a few more fights we hit level 3. We're not just random adventurers anymore, we're slightly stronger random adventurers. I'm skipping a chunk here because truthfully, I got lost with a guide, and went back to town to get some extra stuff before heading back to the temple. So after fully embracing my role as guy who gets lost even with a map, we return to the temple, rested, slightly richer, and still too proud to admit I forgot which door came through. After some quick fights against ghouls, ghosts, and other unspeakable, we find Garland, who launches into the typical villain speech you'd expect.
The king will have no choice but to exchange the kingdom for his daughter's life. Cornelia will be mine.
He says some other stuff, you know, generic villain monologue 101, but the premise is set. The music swells, my palms are sweaty, Garland stands before us, tall, menacing, mildly pixelated, and we, noble heroes of prophecy, do what any seasoned, expertly prepared party would do. We beat him with sticks, because I accidentally used every single spell on some bats earlier. Sleep, gone. Cure, laughed at. Buff spells? What buff spells? It's less heroic triumph and more 4 dudes dogpiling a guy in armor and hoping for the best. But somehow it works. Cue fanfare, princess rescued, and me realizing I've already used 90% of my brain power and we're only 15 minutes in. We make it back to the kingdom and the princess gives us a lute. Truly the stuff of legends. Here, brave warrior, take this ancient instrument you will never play. The lute, emblem of valor, proof of your courage, and absolutely useless outside of one vaguely explained dungeon interaction 20 hours from now. You don't strum it, you don't sell it, and you definitely don't get a bard class upgrade. It just sits there in your bag forever. But hey, that's classic JRPG energy. You risk your life, storm a temple, slay a guy named after a window dressing, and your reward is a glorified key shaped like an existential crisis. The king has the bridge repaired in a scene that I felt like I was stuck watching forever. Patience is not my strong suit, I've learned. Ironic considering the average length of my YouTube videos, but here we are. After crossing the bridge, we get a cutscene of sorts, explaining the story further.
And so their quest began. As the 4 warriors of light, they felt overwhelmed by the great task destiny had placed before them. They did not know the true significance of the 4 crystals they held in their hands. The crystals that once long ago held a light that shone so brilliantly. The time for their journey had come. the time to cast off the veil of darkness and bring the world once more into the light.
With that, our next objective is in sight. We arrive in Provoca and start looking for pirates to slay. First though, we pick up some armor and more importantly, some spells before starting the battle. The battle isn't difficult, it's mostly weak enemies, but the big catch is there's 9 of them. Ooh, scary, I'm shaking. The pirates line up like they're about to drop the hottest sea shanty of 1002 AD. As the warriors only have basic attacks to this point, most of my combat will be focused on him. He uses Dark, hitting all but 2 of them, which is great for us as it's like hooking a dodgeball player to a generator and watching them go to work. Meanwhile, the warriors are doing their best impression of support beams. Sturdy, reliable, and mostly just there to make him look good. Victory is swift. The pirate leader hands us his ship like we just won it in a raffle and not via mystical group assault. It's a great day to be marginally overpowered. Now that we have the cash for it, we stock up on new swords for the party and get back on the road. Except we're on the ocean now. Him stands at the bow, gazing into the horizon like he's about to drop a solo album titled Crystals and Chaos. The others, mostly clinging to the rails and questioning why boat rides weren't covered in basic training. We sail to Elfheim where the prince has gotten the Sleeping Beauty treatment and his people are asking us to help. So what do? In typical RPG fashion, we need to go to a dank, smelly cave full of enemies and guano. It's not over yet though. As we go there, we need to obtain 4 more ingredients to even dream to getting close to finishing this game in a reasonable time frame. Thankfully for you guys and gals, you're watching me play this, so I'm just gonna jump straight to the important part, which is fighting these Pisco demons as they're the boss of the dungeon. They go down without too much of a fight, and I get the crown, first of the 4 items. With that done, we need to go for the next one, the Crystal Eye. It's being held by someone/something named Astos, so we stop by Elfheim, heal up, and set out. The Western Keep is pretty close to town, so it doesn't take long to get there and we turn Astos into pixie dust. He gives us the Crystal Eye, which leads to even more walking around. If there's one thing this game's taught me, it's that cardio is canon. Phil in the game have sprinted more fake miles than most Fitbits track in a week. At this point, I'm starting to believe the real villain isn't chaos. It's poor infrastructure and a total lack of signage. We head to a witch lady named Matoya and give her the glass eye. In exchange, she gives me a jolt potion. I consider thanking her the same way any reasonable hero would, smashing, but she says that we're not as attractive as she thought we'd be. Dang, rough. With this new item in hand, we go back yet again to Elfheim to wake up the prince. He gives us the Mystic Key, which enable us to unlock all sorts of fun doors for equipment, gold, heck, even monsters. The important part so far though is we get nitro powder, because when diplomacy fails, explosives talk apparently. Join the Light Warriors today, travel the world, fight evil, and earn hazardous materials without any formal training or background checks. The chests give us some decent equipment, but if you haven't played Final Fantasy, most weapons are irrelevant until you get to the absolute endgame. That's why to this point I haven't really mentioned it yet, but soon we will be on the way to obtaining the second best weapon in the game, Excalibur. Welcome to Mount Duergard, home to mystery, mayhem, and moderately irresponsible mining. Whether you're here for the lore or just to blow holes in sacred rock formations, we've got you covered. We speak to the NPCs and one of them informs us we need to get adamantite. He doesn't tell us why, but they have ancient tablets, I have Google. Same energy really, just with fewer blessings from the crystal gods, so I know it's for Excalibur. Meeting up with the dwarf, we are shown that we aren't the only mass murdering psychopaths in this game world as he takes a piece straight out of the continent. Inconvenient for the EPA, convenient for our own gain. Just because I'm feeling spiteful after all of this walking, you guys are going to watch how long the sequence takes in real time. Just a quick warning, it's a lot of screen shaking. I'll put a timestamp for when it's over. Our path is now open, so I grab our ship and head through the new canal. What awaits us on the other side? Is it riches? Power beyond our beliefs? Nope, it's Melmond, a dilapidated town with not a whole lot going for it. We do stock up on some new swords, items, armor, etc., and head to the Terra Cavern, aka the Cavern of Confusion. Every hallway looks like the last, every door leads to more stairs, and hymns begin muttering about the merits of pacifism. Phil is sharpening a sword he swears is already sharp, and Egbert has named his helmet Susan. And Rumpert, he's just walking in circles. After many battles, we see the boss, a bat who transforms into a vampire. Not scariest boss in Final Fantasy, but he did give me a little run for my money. Luckily for us, we wrapped our swords in garlic and went full Van Helsing on him. Turns out ancient evildoers don't do so hot against 3 slabs of iron and 1 guy with inexplicable charisma and light magic. We get the loot chest, get the star ruby, and get on our way. Except that we get lost in the cavern. Ignoring that, we do make it back to the surface to go to our next objective, which is mercifully close this time. Ignoring that, we do make it back to the surface to go to our next objective, which is mercifully close this time. All of that work was to get a guy to walk 10 feet back. I feel insulted. At this point, I'm convinced the real artifact we recovered was this NPC's motivation. Quest complete. Emotional support adventuring. The old sage lets us know our torment isn't quite over yet, as the vampire was just a servant. Awesome. Time to backtrack. Now with the earth rod to open the dungeon up further. I'm skipping a large portion of this due to having seen this dungeon already, so here's the boss fight against the Lich, which, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, is the guy who gets throttled mid-cutscene in Strangers of Paradise.
It will remain a dream so long as I live. Who I am. I don't give a fuck who you are.
He almost takes out Phil and him, but we spam healing potions and finish him off. As he dissolves, I feel a sense of accomplishment, as this is the first major boss in the game besides Garland. True progress is when your enemies graduate from standard grunt to having an identity. Thus ends the reign of the first real antagonist. The screen fades, the room goes quiet. Egbert asks if we're finally allowed a bathroom break. Our next destination, Crescent Lake, a vital location due to us needing a canoe to progress. We head over there and speak with all 12 sages. The very last one gifts us the canoe and we're on our way. The way it works is similar to the boat, but you always have it on you and it's for shallow water only. I can't swim, so this is perfect. Welcome to the Magma Caverns. The only place where stepping outside your fireproof boots is a death sentence, and the local wildlife is 80% lava adjacent. The ground bubbles, the soundtrack slaps, and the encounters relentless. The encounters broke me. I blacked out. When I came to, I was mid-menu turning them off. Meanwhile, Rumpert was on the floor doing barrel rolls and whispering about shell-based combat tactics. No one stopped him. Phil just nodded solemnly. Egbert hummed a lullaby. Him stared into the void. We finally find the boss and throw down. After a short fight, due to us being roughly level 30 and assumedly slightly OP, he goes down in a blaze of glory. No pun intended. We're rewarded by restoring the fire crystal to its original state. 2 down, 2 more to go. Next objective is the ice cavern. From fire to ice, what is this, Blades of Glory? We're not even pretending there's environmental logic anymore. I expect the next dungeon to be inside a blender or emotionally powered by my unresolved childhood trauma. Boss here is pitifully weak, as in, I don't know why he's an enemy weak. Just look how short this fight was in real time. I'm not one to complain though, as it nets us access to the Levistone, which in turn gives us access to the best form of travel in the game. Airship acquired. Him immediately calls dibs on piloting. Egbert's trying to name it Cloudy with a chance of goblins. Rumpert is now fully convinced he's a bird. He's flapping wildly at the edge of the airship, while Phil, ever the anchor, holds him back with one hand and pure existential exhaustion in the other. For a brief moment, everything feels peaceful, and then I have to remember half this pixelated fever dream is left to endure. The bliss is over. Time to dive face first into more overworld nonsense. This time it's something I'm excited for. Class promotions. Every class in Final Fantasy has an upgraded version you can obtain from the Citadel of Trials. These upgrades, while not massive with the exception of the monk, are extremely helpful late game as enemies take a sharp ramp up in both difficulty and number. The boss here isn't difficult though, as it's just 2 dragon zombies. Him laughs as he cleaves off their undead heads, Phil stares traumatized, and our ever-faithful Rumpert drags himself along the ground in an attempt to make himself look as worm-like as possible. We make our way to the Dragon King Bahamut, also summoned in other Final Fantasy games, and he rewards us with class upgrades. Our warriors become knights that have access to light magic, and him becomes ever more skilled with mana. Things are looking good. We take some time and buy some magic before moving on to the next section of the game. Now we're getting close to the end. Somehow I forgot to record the part where we get the next quest item, Oxy Ale, which allows us to breathe underwater. Convenient for fighting a water fiend, completely useless otherwise. That aside, we go into a submarine at the edge of Gaia and it takes us to the sunken shrine. So yeah, I got the Oxy Ale somewhere off screen. Just imagine I heroically acquired it from a talking dragon or an emotionally distant elf, or whoever hoards oxygen in this game. Anyway, it's good for exactly one thing and nothing else, like a snorkel made of plot convenience. Here's our current level spread, mostly for historical documentation and so no one accuses me of save scumming. Not that it would help, because leveling up in this game is like getting promoted at a job where your only perk is a new stapler. We link up with the water fiend where he asks, well, as a matter of fact, due to Rumpel becoming a bird mentally and spiritually, I think we have the advantage here, because, you know, pelicans and fish. I don't know, it sounded clever in my head. Besides this guy almost one-shotting him, we handle the fiend and send him to the Shadow Realm. 3 down, 1 to go. We go to, you guessed it, another dungeon, this time to pick up a warp cube from this friendly robot. After looting the chest, we stop ignoring him and he gives it to us. Woo, now this is what I call progress. Our next stop is the elf town of Lufenia. One of the NPCs hand us a bell so we can get into the Tower of Mirage, and subsequently the Flying Fortress. This one wasn't awful, but you do have a tendency to be turned into stone, so you need to prepare accordingly. We find the teleporter pad to the Flying Fortress and go inside. I make a business decision here, and one that comes back to bite me, and turn off encounters. At this point, I was so tired and ready to be done with this game, I didn't consider the need to level up, but just to progress, as this dungeon holds the adamantite that was mentioned earlier for the second best weapon in the game. Meeting Tiamat, the guardian of the wind crystal, I feel a sense of accomplishment as I tear him apart with my party. For some reason, Rumpel screeched at him and was promptly shut down by this toxic gas. We take him down after a very lengthy boss battle. Our next objective is now clear. We must go to the Temple of Chaos. Before that though, check out the sweet footage of us getting the second best weapon in the game, Excalibur. Activating the crystal sends us 2,000 years in the past to confront Garland once and for all, and this is where the run falls apart. I think me turning off encounters led to me being underpowered for the fight, and after many attempts I had to call it quits as you cannot go back to the future to restock items. So there you go. I did not beat Final Fantasy 1. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments, and stay tuned for more runs. If you want to see something similar, go watch my Can I Beat Oblivion as a Crippled Dracula. Until then, I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.